Hey YouTube, right here. Just went ahead and watched a few videos, and I want to get one thing out there, and that's my opinion as far as like all the bullshit that the Congress has been having to deal with. Now, Congress has been trying to get answers. They've been trying to get information so they can hold people who are acting inappropriately responsible for their actions. You know, hold them accountable. Well, it's funny how that ATF officer just ended up basically inadvertently spilling the beans that the DOJ has been actively interfering with congressional hearings and information flow to Congress. Now, a lot of people don't understand what Congress is there for. It's been cited over and over and over again that Congress is there to provide oversight. That means that they are privy to all of the information. They don't have to get redacted information or anything. They are actually allowed to get the unfettered information, the direct reports, and they use that in their decision making. Now, I've always had a problem with the Department of Justice because of the pure and simple fact that they have a lot of power. Just like the IRS has a lot of power. You combine those two, and the vast majority of the country is under their control. A lot of people say, you know, oh, well, the president's responsible for this, the president's responsible for that. A lot of the things that go horribly wrong tend to end up being connected to one of those two, if not both of them. And not so much the president. Because as we've seen, the Senate and Congress and DOJ and all that can shoot something down that the president's trying to do. In all honesty, the president doesn't really do a whole lot. His cabinet presses for things, but he actually is not really in any sort of real position of power unless we are in a wartime scenario, basically where we're being attacked, and he takes direct control. A power which he has to relinquish after the fact. But the problem is that the DOJ is actively blocking. And a lot of people have had a problem with the DOJ since the whole Hillary Clinton debacle. People are wondering why Hillary Clinton didn't even get a slap on the wrist when a private from the military will go ahead, do something much less severe, and end up getting 10 plus years, as well as a dishonorable discharge and be on a watch list for the rest of their life, all that shit. Now, that's a very valid question. And the thing is it comes down to the DOJ. The DOJ is the one that made that happen. They are the ones who actively blocked any prosecution of Hillary Clinton, and they continue to do so. And that is the biggest problem. And unfortunately, there's only one real solution for it, and that would be for the people in the DOJ who have been actively blocking that information to be found out and to be removed from that position instantly. And I'm not talking about them get to decide who gets to go up, who gets promoted in, and that sort of thing. Have someone placed in there that can be trusted. At this point, I don't really see that happening. Because with the way that the government is set up at this point, it's set up for a lot of stalemates and to really grind any sort of progress to a halt. So the thing is at this point, I don't know exactly what can be done. The DOJ definitely needs a new head in there. There are several people that were involved in the Clinton case that definitely need to be removed. Like the people who sat there and said, well, you have to show that they had the express intent of where they had malicious intent. You have to be able to prove that. That isn't the case. Not in any other case other than Hillary Clinton. And for some odd reason, they used a completely different standard. Gowdy called them out on that, and we never got an answer. They just kind of shuffled along, and no one was held to account. At this point, Congress, as far as it needing its oversight, well, its job, as far as giving oversight, is to correct issues. And at this point, the DOJ needs to be held accountable. There's a lot of people in there. The entire department at this point needs to be investigated, and by a third party, by a special investigator. I am not talking about, get someone from the CIA to go in, because we've already seen that the CIA is buddy-buddy with the head of the DOJ. We've already seen how the government is in self-policing. Now, a lot of people are going to sit there and say that an idea like that is treasonous. That isn't treason. Treason would be, well, we need to just demolish the whole thing and just fuck it. That would be treason. What I'm suggesting is cleaning up the filth. Anyone who allows someone who put our country in danger to go is just as guilty. It's the same type of thing where if you know that someone has been mass murdering people, you don't report it, you take them into your home, you protect them, you lie to the police saying that they're not there and all that, and you end up getting caught doing that, well, guess what? That's its own thing, and there is a punishment that comes along with it. At this point, the head of the DOJ definitely is right up there. And I'm just really sick and tired of Congress not being willing to pull a trigger, because I know that there's a lot of Congress that is, but you've got people like Cummings and a few others. Cummings is just the first one that comes to mind because he's the loudest dipshit on there. But the thing is, you've got a bunch of Congress members that are saying, well, we're not going to do this. We could do this, but you need to have a majority vote, and we're going to stop it. We're going to block you from actually having us do our jobs for once. And so, to the people in the states where those Congress members are actually blocking, this is your fault. You are the ones who put these people in there. It's not like these people decided all out of nowhere to start acting like this. They've been doing this consistently. They keep running and they keep winning. It's time for you to change out the guard. Stop playing social politics. Stop playing gender politics. Stop playing all this bullshit. This is a completely different scenario. You are tanking this country. And this is from someone in California. I mean, our representative isn't really much better. A lot quieter, but Not any better. But California, I'm just going to tell you right now, California's fucked. Don't expect any sort of sanity coming out of California anytime soon. Because the thing is the vast majority of the voting population comes from areas that are aggressively liberal. And when I say aggressively liberal, I mean to the point where if you voice if you voice a conservative view, there's a very good chance that you're going to end up face down in a gutter and the police are just going to be walking by you and not doing anything for you. Emergency services not doing anything for you. Or hell, the police will just sit there and watch as you get your ass beaten. As soon as you try to defend yourself, then the cops will come over, beat the living shit out of you, shoot you, and then say, oh, well, he was resisting arrest. And you think I'm joking on it. A lot of people will think that that's hyperbolic. No, it's not. Unfortunately, down in Southern California, that's kind of the situation. And it's not even just in farther Southern California. I mean, it comes all the way up to mid-state. Once you get up into the northern part, that kind of switches, and you get it to where you actually have how the country's supposed to function. You know, where everyone gets a fair hearing, everyone is protected under the law, well, to a degree. I mean, obviously, the laws are a little bit skewed. But again, who decides the most of the laws here in California? So, but the thing is the people who are voting for Cummings and people like them, even the current California representative, honestly, you are the biggest threat to our country at this point. You are keeping our government from being held accountable. You're giving everything. You're giving every bit of power to our government, and you are stripping away our power slowly but surely. So, I don't know what else to say at this point other than you need to pull your heads out of your asses and you need to get these people out of there, because of the pure and simple fact that if we continue down this path, we are looking at a social war. And I'm not talking about a bunch of people yelling and screaming at each other and saying hurtful feelings to each other. I'm talking about guns, knives. I'm talking about bloodshed. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see America literally start to rip itself apart. Now, if it comes down to it and it's necessary, well, of course, I'll be right in there fighting right along with anyone else that has even similar beliefs to me. But the thing is it's time for us to actually band together or to just outright have this civil war. We're at the cusp of it. I've already seen a lot of people from the left who are more than willing, or at least say that they're more than willing to go ahead and have a civil war, but that's because they believe that the government will back them. And to a degree that they're right. But what they forget is that the numbers are fairly evenly matched and the government only has so much authority. And to be perfectly honest, the government has to worry about saving face, whereas the citizens don't. So tactically, your opponents actually have the advantage. Just letting you know. And I'm talking about to the extremists on the left who honestly think that if someone sits there and says that there's two genders, or that all lives matter, you know, whatever, that anyone that says anything along those lines, that they, for some odd reason, should be punched in the face, and that person from the left is perfectly justified and shouldn't be punished for it. But if someone from the left says something that someone from the right doesn't agree with, and someone from the right punches them in the face, that person deserves the fucking death penalty. We're done with that double standard. You guys have pushed the envelope way too far. and it's getting to the point where a lot of people are starting to get exceedingly angry. We're going to start seeing violence. I'm calling it right now. We've only got a couple of years left before this really kicks off. So either you pull your heads out of your asses and start meeting people halfway, or get ready for the consequences, because no matter how you look at it, eventually the right will stand up from getting kicked, and we will kick your teeth in.